Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first of 3 RWBY tier list videos that I'm going to be doing. This one is specifically just for the characters themselves, and just how I feel about them overall, just their characterization, their design, the story arc, stuff like that. I'll be doing 2 other ones as well. One will be covering their semblances, another will be covering their weapons. This is the first time I think that I've ever done a tier list as a video. I've done it a lot in my spare time, but I don't think I've ever done it as a video. So we're gonna go ahead and jump in. This is only updated to Volume 8, by the way. This does not feature any of Volume 9's new characters, like the after ends or anything like that. This is just up until the end of Volume 8. So that's what we're going to go off of. I might throw in some comments about where some of the Volume 9 characters would be if they were on this list. But other than that, they might just have to wait until this gets updated to Volume 9. So this is an alphabetical order. Adam. I can't fully put him in hate. Because I think that he works well as an antagonist. But man, is he annoying. Honestly, he's more annoying than he is, anything else. And, I know that there are a lot of people dissatisfied with the death, and I can't say that I agree, because if Adam were to have gone on any longer than he did, he would have been even more annoying. So he goes in dislike, because I think that he works as a villain, but I can't fully hate him. But I can't put him as one of the villains that I actually like as a villain. Adrian is just because he baby, and that's kind of it. He adorable, but he just baby. So I can't really say anything other than that. Amber, very much. You know what? No, I'm gonna go for dislike. I was gonna go for neutral, but I'm gonna say dislike because I'm still mad that this is the only instance of Laura Bailey and RWBY, and the only line she had was "Please don't," and that was 7 years ago, right? Yes, 7 years ago. Put Laura Bailey and RWBY again. Come on, do it. Ambrosius, I love Ambrosius. Ambrosius is such a fun character. I love the personality. Just the voice that Valentine Stokes does for him is really, really good. I like Ambrosius a lot. I'm still curious how he sent them to the Ever After. It was unintentional, of course. He did tell them not to fall. I'm just curious how the central location linked to the Ever After, because my theory was wrong. But yeah. On Ren, this is Ren's mom, neutral. She's fun, but Arslan Alton, also neutral. The novels don't really do a whole lot with Team Auburn, really. So that's all I can do. And obviously, the only instance that we get of them in the show is during the Vital Tournament of Volume 3, and of course, the Fall of Beacon. Blake Belladonna is the first character to go into the favorite category. I absolutely love Blake. I love just so much about Blake. All of her designs have been really good. Her development, doing a very... I don't even really want to say that it's a 180, because I don't feel like Blake's character necessarily is a 180. It's her outward self that's a 180. I feel like the version of Blake that we've been seeing lately in this, throughout 7 and then very heavily in 8 and especially 9, is the Blake that was always there, that she was hiding because of her history with the White Fang and with Adam. And I really like that her development is not necessarily doing a 180, but more so letting that shield break down and be the Blake that she's always been underneath, essentially. Bolin, again, neutral. not really anything to say about Team Auburn. Bronze, not really anything to say about Team Bronze aside from Nolan, who we will get to later. Camilla, neutral. Again, not much character there. Cardin, dislike. I don't hate him. I really don't hate him because I don't think that there's really that much to hate about Cardin. I just dislike him. There's nothing to like, but I don't think that there's anything to hate. It's just disliking him. CL is a neutral because there's nothing there. CL doesn't have anything. The most that CL has is kind of becoming a meme amongst the fan base about how she just had no acknowledgement in Atlas, even though she was the kind of one of the only other people that had any connection to Penny, and then she just is never brought up again. Not until the cat brought her up, of course. Cinder. There's our first hate. God. It's just ironic because Cinder was one of the reasons I got into this show in the first place. I got into the show because someone said, hey, you're a fan of Jessica Negri and you're a fan of Full Metal Alchemist, right? Well, Jessica Negri voices the villain and Edward Elric voices the uncle. And that's how I got into it. And now I absolutely hate Cinder. I do. I'm glad Watts told her off. And I hate that she killed him for no reason. I have nothing but hate in my heart for Cinderfell. Clover. Oh, do I want to do like or do I want to do neutral? I can't really say that I dislike him. Can I? You know what? No, we're going to go for dislike. No, thinking about it, he deserves to go into the dislike category. Absolute bootlicker. Absolute. You know what? You caused your own death, sir. I still think Crow was stupid in that fight. But frankly, Clover caused his own death. That's his own fault. He should have done the right thing. And I'm tired of, it's so exhausting, the Aesop's trying to justify following Ironwood's orders as being the right thing. And it's like, I don't know, if you think about it for 2 seconds, you'll realize, maybe this ain't the right thing. It's like every time that I watch the Volume 8 finale and Vine is like, Vine's like, maybe bombing the innocent people isn't the right idea. And Harriet's like, it's about the principle, Vine. Clover would have seen it through. And I'm like, yeah, that's why Clover's dead now, Harriet. Coco. Come on. Come on. You're going to look at me and tell me you don't love Coco Adele? You're lying to me. You would be lying to me. Come on now. A woman needs no introduction, okay? Cordovan, you're going into the dislike category too. Same reason as Clover. Cordovan has this line of this is what happens when you think you know better than those rightfully in charge. What makes you think you're rightfully in charge? Just because you got the position? I'm sure there are a lot of people in history who have been put into positions that they should not have been put into. Just because you're in that position does not mean that you are rightfully in that position. That just means you are in that position. This is Corsac. I'm very neutral on the Fennec, on Corsac and Fennec. So I got nothing else to really say about him. D, neutral, don't really care. Do, oh boy. Do I have some stuff to say about Team Indigo? Oh, do I have some stuff to say about Team Indigo? Well, you know what? Do doesn't really have this problem. I'm going to give Do the benefit of the doubt and put her into neutral. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. And I won't get into it until we get to Nebula and Octavia. Dew and Gwen, I'll let them slide for now. Nebula and Octavia, I'm gonna have some words. Dove, don't like, because he's part of Team Curdled Milk. It doesn't even look like it says Cardinal. Their team name doesn't look like it says Cardinal. It's CRDL. That looks like it says Curdle as in Curdled Milk. This is Dudley, don't care. Elm, I really like Elm. I can't really say that I necessarily love Elm, because we don't get a whole lot of her, but I do like Elm. And I like that she's one of the Aesops that doesn't hide her emotions, but she is kind of hypocritical in that. So she has that moment in Volume 8 where she's like, oh, we don't let emotions get in the way of doing the right thing. And it's like, well, one, you're not doing the right thing because you're following Ironwood's orders. Two, you say this like 2 minutes before you're about to deck Ren in the face for vibe checking all of you. Was that the right call, then, Elm? Is that what I'm supposed to be understanding here? Aside from that, Emerald. I like Emerald. I'm really ready to see what she's going to be like in Vacuo, because I want to see Emerald come into her own a little bit more, because thus far she's kind of just been... She has been showing her own persona, but it's very much in the case of clinging to Cinder. And now that she isn't with Cinder anymore, it's going to be interesting to see her come into her own. And I'm here for it. I'm very much here for it. Fennec, same. Fiona Time, I like Fee. Dude, precious little thing, and her semblance is so cool. Semblance is really, really cool. Flint, I like Flint. Neat design, fun semblance. I like him. Fox goes into love. The novels really do so much for Team Coffee, and even a few of the members of Team Sun as well. It's really... Because when Team Coffee appears in the show, it's really just, oh, they're this kick-ass team, and that's kind of it. The novels, you get a whole lot more in way of characterization. And I really like that. I really like the characterization that they have in the novels. And I cannot wait to see them. I cannot wait to see them in Volume 10. Oh, Team Coffee in the Maya Engine is going to be so good. Freya, neutral. We don't really know anything about her. Gira, I like. I think I would like Gira a little bit more if we had a bit more history with him. But I like him. The Belladonnas are the best parents of the bunch. Glinda, I like. Oh, I almost clicked on the wrong one. Glinda, I like. I can't really put Glinda much higher than like. Yeah, I like her for obvious reasons. But she doesn't have much character. There's really not much character for Glinda. I would love to have a story delving into the backstories of Ozpin's current inner circle. I think that would be really cool, and we could get some characterization and backstory for Glinda, and I would really like that. The gods. Two of the people who caused this mess in the first place. But it's a love to hate. It's a love to hate. Hypocritical little... I'm glad y'all didn't make the Ever After. I'm glad that we got baited into thinking that you guys made the Ever After. Nah. The Ever After made you. And then you made this mess. Gwen, neutral. Harriet. I get a migraine when Harriet shows up in Volume 8. Second half of Volume 7, too. Not second half. That's a bit harsh. The last few episodes of 7. But all through Volume 8, just absolutely nothing that she says tracks. Nothing that she says makes any sort of sense. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Any of the things that she says with, like, you keep refusing to do the right thing, and it's like, you're not doing the right thing. Have you listened to what Ironwood's saying? That's not the right thing. Or there are people in danger because you kids are being selfish. No, there are people in danger because the dude in charge is not doing the right thing. Like, I'm sorry, but nothing that Harriet says tracks. But I like how her story, or not necessarily her story, I like where it seems like it's going to go. Not where it already went, but where it seems like it's going to go following the end of Volume 8. Because it really seems like Harriet is coming into this clarity of, if she doesn't operate on her own, aside from what order she's given, things are going to go bad like this again. And it's really the sacrifice of Vine that causes that clarity, which is kind of unfortunate because Vine didn't have much character. Hazel. I like Hazel. Hazel's a good villain. I like that he gets to have a redemption. It's a little bit rushed. It's a little rushed. But I like it. I like this scene. I think that we could have had a little bit more time with Hazel for it to have a bigger impact. But I do like how it happened anyway. I like that fight scene a lot. The fight scene between just fully pumped up Hazel and Sailor. It's such a cool fight scene visually. Henry Marigold, hate. I'm not even going to give you the merit of dislike. You're just hate. The Hound. I didn't realize the Hound was on this list. I guess that's technically a character. Okay, you're going up there because the Hound is terrifying. It's my favorite Grimm. It is a horrific creature. The concept of turning someone that has magic into a Grimm is just horrifying. And the fact that that's probably what happened to Summer, and that Raven knows that now we know Raven knows what happened. Oh dear Lord. Hound's creepy, and the scare factor of it was done really, really well. That's a top tier. Ilya. I love Ilya. I love the adorable little chameleon girl. I love the little chameleon lesbian. She's great. Oh, I love it. I love her. I love this. I love the that she kind of acts like a turnaround for Blake, with Blake having that thing of like, I want to help Ilya the way that Sun helped me. Like, I really like that. I really like that. I criticize Blake's part of 4 and 5 a lot because I feel like it's on the back burner when it shouldn't be. But when it was good, it was good. And Ilya was a big part of that. Ironwood. He's one of my favorite villains. Do I want to call him a villain? I'm going to say antagonist. He's one of my favorite antagonists, and that's why he's going in favorite. Because loving him as an antagonist was so good. I think he's very well done. Metal really needed to be something that, if they were going to have it as a concept, should have been elaborated on in the show proper. But also, I feel like if you go through it and you don't know what metal is, you're fine. I feel like it still works, even if you don't know what metal is. I mean, we went through the initial, like, change not knowing what metal is, and none of us had a problem with it, so. Ivory, neutral. Jacques, I'm not even giving you the time of day. Jean, favorite. Top tier. Jean has had some of the best development of this show whatsoever. I love Jean. Going back and rewatching Volume 1 and realizing that early on he really wasn't that good, but then the way that he has grown out of that throughout the show it's just been absolutely amazing. Seeing his growth as a fighter, as a leader, sort of like fluctuating, I guess, confidence in his ability. It's been great. He's one of my top 10. I absolutely love Jean. Jin, I like Jin. Jin doesn't have as much personality as Ambrosius. Let's be real. She's fun, but she's no Ambro. I mean, there's that reason. But Joanna, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna have to go for neutral. Because I can't dislike her because she seems cool. I just wish she was fleshed out more. Junior, hate. You're not even getting the time of day either. Kali, I like. Same as Gira. I can't really put into the love category. It's just like, they're more than neutral, but they're not as high as some others. Klein, how do you not love Weiss's real father figure? Come on now. That is her actual dad. Not Jacques. Not Jacques. No. Klein Sieben. Come on. Cobalt, neutral. What's your name again? Lark? Skylark? Is that his name? Yeah, because the Mohawk dude is Russell. Why? I guess he's here because Lark. I don't know. His name is Sky. It's weird that he's there and that. Like Ren and Watts, I understand them being in the placements that they're in. That one's just weird. It's not like he goes by Lark. Or maybe he does, I don't know. Or maybe he doesn't go by anything. I don't know if they're alive or not. I don't like him though. Lee Ren, same as on Ren, neutral. Can't really do much. Little Miss, I like Little Miss. Little Miss Malachite's I like that trope of character, and I like the additional content we get with her in the novels. Leo, come on. He has such a cool name, a cool design, a cool weapon that only got to be used in that fight, and then in the Neo thing this past volume. It's all wasted on him. It's all wasted on him. Maria goes into the love category. Maria Calavera is great. I absolutely love her. She's fantastic. I love that she can still keep up a fight these days. Especially because she's probably the best counter for Neo. That's why they put her up against her. Marrow. Oh, I didn't mean to put you all the way up there. I don't typically have like an order in the tiers, by the way. So if I put, like, just because I have Ilya further down in this than the Hound doesn't mean I like the Hound more than Ilya. I just prefer to put them at the end. Love Marrow. I love that he's kind of the only he's the only one that was really in touch with his morality from the start. And I feel like when Elm says that his brains are a liability, I feel like she's confusing that with him being willing to be emotional, even though he kind of tries to act like he isn't. At least until he realizes that Ironwood is going off the deep end. In which case, he does what's actually right and says no. Mata. Neutral. I don't really know why Mata's even on this list, just because he's a named character. I don't know. May Marigold. Love a trans queen. I love May. I love the moment that she gets in Volume 8. I very much don't know how to feel about May still being in the show, though, because of the Rooster Teeth debacle. I know Kaden is not going to be voicing May anymore. And it's going to be really, really jarring to have May and it not be Kaden, because that character was kind of made for Kaden and I think somewhat by Kaden as well. It's very much going to be weird. But I love her. I love her attitude. I love her design. The semblance of invisibility is really cool. I love her. She's great. As for the other May Zedong, neutral. We don't really get anything of her other than the fact that she's dead. Malachite twins, I'm going to put in neutral. Because even with the extra stuff that we get in the novels, I'm not that interested in them all that much. But I wouldn't mind getting more of them just to flesh them out a little bit more. Mercury. I like Mercury. I do. Cool fighting style, fun backstory. Well, not fun from his perspective. I want to know what his semblance was, and if his semblance was able to be taken away, surely it can be brought back somehow. If he even needs it. Who's this again? Nadir Shiko. Yeah, considering how long it took me to remember the name. Nebula Violet. Why? Why? They could have had any personality. Any at all. And instead, and this is mainly for Nebula and Octavia. It's mainly Nebula and Octavia. Nebula and Octavia are given these awful personalities where they're hateful towards the other students. They're like, oh yeah, well, you ran away from Beacon whenever you needed you. You're not real heroes. And it's like, okay, well, you're hypocritical because you ran from Beacon too. And it's like, well, it's because we knew it was a lost cause. Like, really? And then they are willing to use, not even just willing, they actually go through with it, using kids as live bait for Grimm. I don't know what to say to that. I don't know what to say. That's not what you're supposed to do. That's not what you're supposed to do. You know what? We're not going to have anyone else in the hate category until Octavia anyway. I'll go ahead and put her on there. She's the same way as Nebula. Dew and Gwen, we don't really get that. But Nebula and Octavia, yeah, we do. Neo. Neo's one of my favorites. Especially after Roman Holiday. Getting to have her backstory. Roman Holiday is my favorite of the novels. Because I love a villain story. Because it's so different from a hero story. Or it's sometimes very similar to a hero story and they choose to not be the hero route. But Neo's backstory, it's so familiar, is what I'm going to say, because it's very much like Weiss's backstory, and it's very much like Salem's backstory, to the point that Neo's favorite fairy tale growing up was The Girl in the Tower. I was sent to the Ever After for like 10 minutes when I was listening to the audiobook and heard that. In Volume 9, I am still miffed about, oh, how has Neo gotten this powerful? How is she doing this? Good question. Shame we never get an answer. I'm still miffed about that. But I also just really like how the semblance developed. I like what it was able to do. I just wish that we got a real explanation. And her ending is probably the most satisfying villain death of any in this show. It's just something very poetic and beautiful about it. And there is the possibility she comes back at some point. There is the possibility that when she's with the tree, she decides that what she wants to do is heal by being herself and being allowed to heal and come back to Remnant and fight Cinder. Not join the heroes, but fight Cinder. And I would be pretty okay with that. And it can happen at any point, because we know that the portal that sends them back home is about when they're needed most. So if Neo decides that she wants to be Neo, then she can go back home and she'll pop up wherever that battle needs her to be. Neon, I'm going to go with love. I wish that we had more on Team Funky, but man, she's just too fun for me to put anywhere lower than love. Come on. Neptune, I'm only going to put Neptune in like. I say I love Neptune, but I feel like I can only put him in like. I do feel for him though, in terms of that fear of water, because it was a very traumatic experience having to do with the ocean. I don't like the ocean either, Neptune. Don't worry about it. Nolan Porfirio. He gets to go and like, he's a very interesting character. In the novels, Team Bronze is written as an antithesis to Team Juniper, where Team Juniper lost one member. Team Bronze lost all but Nolan. And it's he has this survivor's guilt storyline. And it's not a very prominent thing in the novels, but it's there, and I enjoy when it pops up. Nora! Be strong and hit stuff, girl. Be strong and hit stuff. Come on. Oobleck. I like Oobleck. I'd like to see him again. But I can't really give him much more than like. Oscar. I like Oscar. I can't give him much more than like either. But it's also not neutral. It's enough to where I like him. Ozpin, I'm gonna put you in. Put you in like, just because I do think you're a well-written character, even if I think you've been doing all the wrong things. As a good guy, you've been doing all the wrong things. You're not an antagonist like Ironwood, where it's the point. You're a good guy who is actually a good guy, who's actually a protagonist who's doing the wrong thing. RWBY was justified. You were not, and I'm gonna die on that hill if I have to. RWBY specifically didn't trust Ironwood. You decided that a few rotten apples spoils the bunch. RWBY was in the right. You were in the wrong. I have a whole video on it. You're not gonna change my mind. It's just what happened. It's just the truth. Penny. Listen, if you don't love Penny Polendina, you do not have a soul, and you will not see peace in the afterlife. That's just the facts of life. Pietro goes right next to his daughter. Port is going to go into neutral, because I'd like to say I like Port. Kind of don't. His voice actor situation certainly didn't help a whole lot. Oh, I'm realizing just how much this is not in frame on OBS. Oh dear. Pyrrha. She goes into the love category. Come on. What are you going to do? Not love Pyrrha Nikos? Who you fooling? Who you fooling? Not me. Crow. I don't like Crow as much as I used to, but I still like him. So I'll put him in the light category. Raven. One of my favorites because she's an interesting anti-hero is the word I'm going to use. I'm going to say anti-hero. And she's only gotten even more interesting with the Volume 9 finale. I'm interested to see what they do with her character going forward. It's also just really funny. I posted that video talking about how people who say that Adam, Ironwood, and Raven were wasted potential, you know, and talking about how you're just in the wrong if you think that, because two of them were what they were supposed to be, and the other one's story isn't done yet. And look who showed up in this volume, Raven Bronwen. Told you, didn't I? Reese. I'm going to go with neutral on Reese. Because, again, not much characterization for Team Auburn. We do get a little bit of Reese, but not as much as I would like. Ren goes to the love category. Come on. Come on. And he would know just by looking at me, because that's how his semblance works. Rhodes. You know, you're part of the problem, Rhodes. If you would have just gotten Cinder out of that situation, none of this would have happened. Well, a lot of it still would have happened. But Cinder's involvement wouldn't have. Maybe she would have been involved, but on the side of good. Robin. I like Robin. I don't know if I necessarily love Robin, but I like Robin. I like Robin a lot. Roman, he's too charismatic for me to put him in just like, I have to put him into love. He is a love to hate villain in some of the best ways possible, especially after the novel. Roy Stallion, neutral. He kind of just shows up and dies. RWBY, I love. I've gotten such an appreciation for RWBY after doing a lot of my rewatches. Before I started doing rewatches of RWBY, I was kind of not that big a fan of RWBY. I'm like, I feel like she could be doing more with the character. Until I started rewatching and realizing they are doing a thing with her character, and it has been very subtle, and the volume where it pays off is the one that I actually got to do a reaction to. I love it. I loved it. I love RWBY as a character. She's definitely gotten up there for me within recent years. And knowing that this breakdown was happening and on its way, I ate good. I ate good. It's also painful, but I ate good. And this is Russell. Don't like. Saber Rodentia. He experiences racism because he has buck teeth. Sage, neutral, because he doesn't have anything. Salem. I can't put her into love. I can only put her into like. That's all I can do. I think that she is a very well-written villain. I think she's a very good villain. I just like some of the other villains more, if I'm being completely and totally honest with you. Other villains just do it better. Saffron. I like Saffron. That's all I can say. I like Saffron. Scarlet. I like Scarlet. That's all I can say. I like Scarlet. It's not all I can say. I like that they gave Scarlet sort of a story where we get to learn his reaction to Sun running off to help Blake during Volume 4. And 5. It's not a whole lot. I do like that we get to see a potential development between him and Nolan, though. I do like that they touch on that. Shay, hate. Captain, neutral. Shopkeep, neutral. Sienna, neutral. We didn't get enough of Sienna for me to really have an opinion. She's got a great design, but I would have liked to have seen more of her as a character. Sleet, neutral. Summer is a lot more interesting, but I'm going to keep her in neutral for now, because I don't have much to go off of. But if we get more Team Stark content, I imagine she's probably going to move up. Sun, how do you not love Sun? He is the epitome of love. That is his thing. You know that thing of like, this person is a personification of this word. Sun is love. It's not what Blake says, but I think that that's what she should have said. That is what he is. Even if he's not showing it in what is the appropriate way, such as following without permission, being a bit overbearing in the novels, or, you know, just kind of running off in general. He still is. He is the epitome of love. Ty just goes into the light category, as I do like him, but that's kind of all I can do. Let's do a zoom out. Yeah, zoom out will work. Okay. Tara. I like Tara. That's all I can say. Talk. I like Talk. I like Talk a lot. I like her design. Her semblance is pretty fun. And well balanced as well, I should say. The voice is fun. The personality is fun. I like Trifa, neutral. Tuxin, neutral. Tyrion, another one of my favorite villains. I was very weary when Tyrion was first introduced. I'm like, they're doing a crazy dude. The more that I've gotten to see Tyrion on screen, the more it's like, yeah, I see why now. I see why they decided to do a crazy one. Velvet, one of my favorites. I love Velvet. She has my favorite weapon, for one thing. Why just have one weapon when you can have them all? And then her semblance of being able to mimic people's fighting moves is also pretty good. Especially because she's not limited to just one. The novel has her combine different fighting moves together. And Coco describes it as... Velvet can fight like anybody, but not anybody can fight like Velvet. And I really like that. Velvet is the cute little secret powerhouse of Team Coffee. And I really like that. Vernal, neutral. I kind of don't care. Vine, neutral. I think we needed more time with him for his sacrifice to work better. Watts, favorite. Absolutely love. Suave villain. Walks in like he owns the place, and then he does own the place. And then they kill him for absolutely no reason. All I'm saying is that it's a loose end. It was a loose end. That is the only reason that they killed him. It's because it was a loose end and they didn't know what else to do. That's the only thing that it feels like. It's not a well-written death, and I'm not going to budge on that. Weiss, she's my favorite member of Team RWBY. I love her. The development that she's had from being one of the worst characters at the beginning of the show to being so good now. I absolutely love her. She's fantastic. Whitley, I like Whitley a lot more these days. Oh, no, right here. First getting introduced to Whitley, you're not supposed to like him. He's written to not be likable. That way, it's really satisfying when Volume 8 comes around and he is likable because he starts to do things the way that they should be done, as opposed to how he's kind of been groomed by Jacques, but also kind of how he's made himself act as a form of defending himself from Jacques. I like it. Willow, I like Willow. But also, what I really like is that with Jacques out of the picture, the Shnees are capable of healing. Like Weiss and Winter, when they aren't at the Schnee family home, they have bettered themselves. And when Jacques is arrested, Whitley and Willow are able to just do better. They do things that they wouldn't have done otherwise because Jacques is no longer there. The toxic person holding the back isn't there. And it does so good for them and for the people around them. And I love to see that the Shnees are healing because he gone. Y'all know who's next. That's my wife. That's my queen. It's Winter. She's my favorite. We don't get a whole lot of Winter, but there's just something so horrendously satisfying about Winter. Her slow growth into going against Ironwood. And, oh, I have never wavered in fighting the enemies of this kingdom, and I won't start now. Oh, yes, my queen, my wife, that is who that is. I love her. She is my favorite. Oh, I outrank you. Yes, please. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Yang, favorite. She was once my actual favorite. Yang is my favorite, then tied with Blake after a while. Then Weiss had about a year as my favorite, and then Winter took over, and Winter's my favorite now. And I love Yang. I just love Yang. You want to know why? I mean, honestly, just go and watch her scene with the herbalist in Volume 9. That'll tell you why I love Yang. Yatsu. Love Yatsu. He a big teddy bear. I love Yatsu. Yuma, kind of don't care. Zwei! I did not like Zwei. Come on. And there you have it. The character tier list. I guess I should run through and like kind of say where the Volume 9 characters should go, shouldn't I? Little / somewhat would go into Love. I absolutely loved them. The Curious Cat was a very good antagonist, a very unique antagonist in the world of RWBY too. Would also go into Love because they were a great antagonist. I would say that I like the Red King, Red Prince rather, because he was funny. He was annoying, but in a funny way. The Blacksmith would probably go into Love because he was a really cool concept. And also the fact that the true god of RWBY is actually just so chill in comparison to the brother gods that made Remnant. Paper Pleasers probably like, and then their reincarnated genial gems would probably be neutral. The Guards would be like because they were funny. The Jabberwocker would go into Love because it was so creepy. I just wish we got more time with it itself. I think that's everyone from Volume 9. Carmine from the novels would go into like because she's fun. Bertilac would go into neutral. Neo's parents would go into hate. Jax and Jillian would go into like because I think that they're really fun concepts as villains. Gus and Edward would both go into like. Yeah. This is an almost 50-minute video. I didn't need to make it this long, but I did. I don't know how much is going to be cut out in the final product. So it might not be as long as I think it is. But anyway, there is my character tier list for RWBY. Like I said, I'm going to be doing 2 more of these where I'm going to be covering the semblance ranking and the weapon ranking, which means that we aren't going to get as many in the next 2 because not everyone has a weapon, Hazel, and not everyone has a semblance, Watts, Roman, Mercury. So look forward to that. This is kind of just on a whim. It was a fun idea. It popped into my head. And I enjoyed making it. I might do more of these for other things. I'm not quite sure yet. But, yeah. Do all of that YouTube algorithm stuff. If you want to see my reactions to RWBY Volume 9, there is a full playlist including just the isolated reaction to the opening. I don't know what else I'm going to be working on RWBY related, just whatever comes to mind whenever I feel like it or have the time. That's what's going to happen. And until then, I'll see you when I see you.